Hey, my brothers, this is Davi speaking. I told you that Marçal really couldn't run in these elections. Here's the proof. You'll watch it with me. The Superior Electoral Court just blocked his participation, both in the political and electoral programs. You know, those boring shows that interrupt regular programming, and also in the debates themselves. Look here, breaking news. I even canceled the video that was supposed to go out about the schedule. It'll come out tomorrow. Check this out, my brother, because it's one of the biggest proofs that Brazil is under a curse, that they're not there to interpret the law anymore, especially since this kind of process usually takes a long time. But look how fast it was, right? Because Marçal is someone they don't want to compete. And Marçal made a mistake, which isn't really a mistake. In fact, it's a virtue. But in this twisted world, it was a big mistake. And I'll explain it to you after you see the news itself. Watch with me, because I don't like to beat around the bush here. Let's watch it together. I just downloaded the video for you to watch. Here it is.
The Superior Electoral Court decided this Thursday, August 20th, unanimously to bar Pablo Marçal from PRTB from participating in debates and from free campaign broadcasts on radio and television. The presidential candidate is also prohibited from accessing resources from the electoral and party funds. The decision is precautionary and is valid while the Superior Electoral Court analyzes the request for candidacy registration. The final judgment will still determine whether Marçal can run in October or not. The candidacy faces two legal obstacles. The first is that Marçal is ineligible until 2032 after being convicted for improper use of the media during the 2024 Sao Paulo municipal election, a decision upheld by the Sao Paulo Regional Electoral Court this month. Second, the Electoral Public Prosecutor's Office challenges the party affiliation. Public records indicate that Marçal was still listed as a member of União Brasil in April after the legal deadline to switch parties. PRTB has about 3.3 million reais available in the electoral fund, but these resources are blocked for Marçal's campaign until the registration is ruled on. The decision directly affects the party's presidential campaign structure, but it's not the end of the road for the candidacy yet.
Published by InfoMoney, right?
That's it, my brother. It's a joke, right? The guy is already out.
Marçal, he came on too strong. You see that when he announced his candidacy, several media outlets started calling him, hey, come here, come give an interview. And he already started stirring up trouble, right? And he said loud and clear that his target was Molusco. He said, since I was a kid, since I was 15 years old, this guy has been in power and has been wrecking the nation. So he made it clear who he was going to attack in the debate. And this guy is protected. This guy has the whole machine behind him, my brothers. People like to underestimate Molusco. But it's no joke, my brother. The guy has China and Russia behind him. The guy was arrested for a proven crime, and even so, his conviction was overturned, something that doesn't exist in any justice system, none in the world. So you speak out loud and clear, the guy is this, he's that, I'm gonna say it anyway. And sending in the paid activists from the mainstream media. They're people who do nothing. People who set up a social media profile and can't even get 50,000 followers. People who are always in the media can't even do that. And suddenly this group was being discredited by Marçal. Because in these last 3 interviews he did, man, he really discredited them. I'll tell you, that was Lula's strategy. Okay?
Check out the old man's strategy. The old man, he pulled off something big. Every election, he puts up 3 of his own candidates.
So these guys get at most 15%, like Oralciro Tebet, that tangled one there.
Why? It's his way of holding them back so he can carry that into the second round.
It's the first time this guy runs alone. Do you know what that means? He wants to win in the first round. Let me tell you what that means. He locked down everyone who wanted to run, gave each one a spot, and said, I'll go alone, I'll crush Flavio and win in the first round.
Can I tell you? That's what's happening.
But this thing about coming in at the last minute is going to be a problem.
Why? Because I'm going to take votes from Lula. I'm going to take votes from a lot of people.
And he won't win in the first round. And I'm here to be a shield.
This man planned to win in the first round, and later you'll respect this analysis.
I'm tired of hearing that from the powerful people in this country, okay? He planned it, didn't put up any candidate. I'll explain why. If 0 goes along, he can't reach 50.0 something. He put 0 in, made the PL accept 0, took him out, did everything, but these guys made a miracle happen in Ceará so Lula could run alone. But there's one thing, Lula won't grow anymore. He won't grow. There's no way for Lula to grow. The person talking to you understands numbers, and that's why I've managed to do okay for myself.
Lula doesn't grow. But if he takes down the main candidate, which is Flavio, the election ends in the first round. But now, just as the lights were going out, someone shows up.
You don't have to like me. You just have to let me run, sir.
If I don't win, I'll keep living my life in peace. But you're screwed, old man. You guys have to learn what I'm saying. Root for me, even if it's just to see me fail. But let me go. Let me go to the debate.
And you must have noticed too, right? The setup they're doing, they're filling it with women. It's always women now. They put women to ask the questions. Before it was men, right? Not anymore. Now it's women. Why? Because women are untouchable in this country today. And that's the key point of the curse we're living through in this country. People don't care about what's happening, and many even approve of it. Right? So what happens? Especially for you who are honest. Doovie, I'm not worried about these laws because I'm honest. I do everything right. But don't forget that they're the ones drawing that line. So, nowadays, anything you do can be considered a crime, even the most trivial things. Imagine, for example, the neighbor parks her car in front of your gate, your garage, and you go there to ask her to move it. Instead of her saying, "Oh, my bad, I'll move it now," she insults you. You raise your voice in the argument. You get arrested. Yeah, man, you think it's a joke. Wow, Davi is so over the top, because there are still some clowns who come and say that. So for these idiots, here it is. Look, this was published by CNN itself. Take a look, see. Protection in cases of gender-based violence without a domestic connection. What does that mean? Before, right, to be under the Maria da Peña law, for you to be charged under it, you had to have a relationship with the person. Not anymore. Any girl, any woman you don't know can mess up your life. In fact, there's a very famous biologist, right, who's going through this here on YouTube. On YouTube. I think the biologist's name is Enrique, right? I don't follow him much, but I saw the drama with Carol Keppel. And I know she sued him. He gave his opinion about a video she made, right? And since he's a biologist, he explained what he thought was misinformation. All right. Up to that point, he didn't insult her or anything like that. He just said, look, what you said is wrong, period. She didn't like it, sued the guy, didn't win the case, and then it's under seal. But we know that it was probably her who used the Maria da Peña law. He never saw her in person. They never even had a single conversation, right? It's all internet stuff, opinions and videos and so on. And the guy is being charged under the Maria da Peña law. So, the way it happens to a famous person, in fact, they already do this to set an example for all of us pawns on this board. If it happens to a famous guy who has money, has resources, right, to fight back, he knows influential people, a lot of influential people. And then he gets caught in the dragnet. Imagine you, my brother, when you argue with your neighbor. Imagine you when someone cuts you off and you say, watch where you're going. And the person already comes with their phone, already filming because you raised your voice. You're going to get in trouble with this. Here it is. The federal Supreme Court has a majority to expand the application of urgent protective measures from the Maria da Peña law, cases of gender-based violence, even without a domestic relationship. In other words, there doesn't need to be any family or emotional tie between the victim and the aggressor. The rapporteur of the case, Justice Edson Falcon, stated on Wednesday the 19th that restricting protective measures to domestic or emotional relationships ignores the structural nature of gender-based violence, and it goes against international commitments made by Brazil, such as the Convention of Belém do Pará. According to him, the determining factor is the motivation for the crime and the victim's status as a woman. And where is it? And not the type of relationship with the aggressor. There are 6 votes to that effect so far. Fachin, Dino, Zanin, Andre Mendonça, Nunes Marques, Bolsonaro's pick, Wright, and Alexandre de Moraes. Violence against women does not arise from private conflicts, but from systemic discrimination. This structural perspective has been consolidated in international human rights treaties, he stated. What they want is to end, right, the relationship between man and woman. to make it impossible because they put it way above everything else, right? In fact, all she has to do is make the accusation, because until then, what was understood in the justice system? If I accuse you of something, I'm required to prove it. But, right, how many false accusations are you seeing happen? And nothing happens about it. The person goes there and accuses the guy because they were jealous, because they were angry. Then it's discovered that it was a lie, and the person doesn't pay anything, doesn't go to jail, nothing. It just gets left at that. And they're expanding this. So, my noble and dear brothers, when Marçal takes part in the debates, with several women questioning him there, and he puts them all in their place with valid arguments. In fact, this convinces the people, because if the guy were talking nonsense, there wouldn't be this buzz. The guy, within 24 hours, my brothers blew up on the internet. Why? Because he told the truth. He said what the journalists needed to hear, what the people wanted to say but couldn't. But now, because of what someone has between their legs, you can't say it anymore. You have to listen and bow your head, like already happens with so many topics. When you see even a Christian trying to debate with others who are protected, other members of other sects who are protected, the Christian has to walk on eggshells all the time. And the other guy just goes all out. And that's why I said, here in Brazil, I would never take part in a debate against anyone. Because you can't say what you should. You can't even raise your voice because the guy already says I'm in the middle of a group, right? There was Bruxo Balagueta, who we even reacted to here. And the guy just spoke a little more harshly, and the other guy said, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to sue you. You know what you meant. And it was a comparison the guy made, like having a son who's a thief, having a gay son. He says, hey, you're comparing me to a criminal. I'm going to sue you. So, like, there's no way you can have a debate. Impossible, because they're protected. They're protected groups. This country is under a curse, my brother. And the curse isn't that evil does evil. That's what you need to understand. Let me make it clear. Davi, so because of Lula, because of Alexandre de Moraes, we have to leave the country. No, my dear friend, it's because of society, the mindset of the people.
Look at the views, for example, on this channel.
We've talked a lot about companies here, right? Showing why companies are going bankrupt, explaining the economic side of it. Very low audience. People aren't interested. People are interested in some celebrity drama. In what Virginia is saying, doing with her little player over there. People are interested in themselves. That's what gets ratings. That's the majority of people. You have to understand. You take a channel smaller than this one. Look at the views. The guy gets talking about this subject. And look at an important video like that one. So there you have the difference in proportion. The guy's video got 1 million views. Ours got 5,000. That's the proportion of people who are aware of what's happening in the country. And those are the ones who will keep supporting the PT and the socialist policies being rolled out in this country. There are several programs. For example, people who drive for ride-hailing apps can now buy a car or motorcycle, right? With very low interest rates. At least that's the promise, and it's happening, right? If you've been driving for 6 months and have completed 100 rides, you can join the program. So 2 months to pay the first installment and reduced interest rates. That's something not even the banks can do. The government is doing it. Why? Because it's campaign season. Obviously, they're not going to keep this up. Obviously, these people who are going to buy these vehicles won't be able to keep them. They'll buy them to work and then realize that maintenance is expensive. But who cares about logic? The person is already in a vulnerable situation. And they'll think, I'm going to vote for something that's helping me. Not for those others who are talking about companies and businessmen. I couldn't care less about them. Everyone man only thinks about themselves. But they forget to think about the overall consequences that this or that measure will cause. So here's what I've been telling you. Are you going to stay in this country? So Davi, I dream of having a 4-cylinder. I want a Hornet. You want a Hornet? Now you're going to want an electric one. You'll adapt. Davi, I like my car here, the TSI engine, turbo. No, sell it as soon as possible. You're going to buy a 3-cylinder. 1.0, right? Brand new, if possible. Sell yours along with the money. Do that, because you'll have to be the humblest of the humble in your tastes. Don't go wanting those things you see people enjoying, the technology, the power. Forget about that. You'll have to be as simple as possible. Yeah, I wanted to have my own little land. Forget about that too, because they're making more and more rules to make it impossible for you to control what's yours. Digging your own well, having your own crops, raising your own animals. It's over. Be content with just being a little taxpayer, working your little shift. Yeah, that's what this country has for you. If you don't want to accept it, then start thinking about other countries. Here, it's been taken over, my brother. And it was taken over. Pay close attention. Without even firing a shot, and with the consent of the very people who are being dominated. I repeat, you who are awake, you who understand what's happening, you are the minority. Get that into your head. This electoral dispute that's going on is a farce. That's it. No, Marçal can still appeal. Nonsense. He won't make it. Actually, I believe he came there looking closely at the situation. I think he would be the new Father Kelvin, right? He would be there kind of to back up Flavio Bolsonaro. Flavio's been heavily attacked, especially by Renan, right? And since he doesn't want to give a direct answer so as not to give the guy the importance he's getting, what does he do? He probably made a deal with Pablo Marçal, and Pablo would give the answers. Because that's the truth. Today, in this current political scenario, there's no one who can debate with Pablo Marçal. Not even the media activists can do it. These trained reporters were managing to do it. So let Pablo Marçal give the answers, make the necessary attacks, right? To Renan and also to Molusco. So much so that Lula had already decided, he had already confirmed that he wouldn't participate in the first debate on ban, right? Now with the ban on Pablo Marçal, they created this situation. I think they also want to remove Renan. It's likely that he'll participate. I don't know. Anyway, my brothers, so that's it, right? The country is indeed under a curse. And I'll tell you more here. Do you want another prophecy? I think this channel of ours here, I think that many conservative channels will be taken down starting in January. They're going to start being taken down. Why, Davi? Because Molusco is going to be reelected, right? And the real resurrected witch hunt is going to begin. 2.0, 2027. So enjoy the videos, right? Download any video you want. You can repost them if you want. You have my permission. Because it's the end. Okay, my brothers, the end of a cycle. That's how it is, right? The situation will have to get much worse. And then we'll see if the people will have the strength to rise up or if they'll be oppressed, like so many other countries ended up giving in. Do you think the Chinese, for example, like the situation they have there today, that they love the government they have? No, right? But they're already so trapped in the system that they've gotten used to it, said, oh, that's how it is, and we'll just keep going. And I think that's how it will be in Brazil. There won't be a big revolution here, no, because the land of Brazil is very blessed. So you have the resources. The guy might not have any money in his pocket, but he goes to the stream, he goes to the beach, you know? Yeah, as long as they allow it too. But they always leave a little bit of entertainment for the herd. So people will be happy with what they have, right? They've already banned Escola Sem Partido, right? It never moved forward. So the child will start, the new generation, to be indoctrinated very early. Very early. How early? Look, very early. So, my brothers, what are you going to have then? You're going to have the enemy inside your own home, your own child, because he will learn opposite values, even religious ones, right? They're teaching witchcraft, macumba, all those things, with all due respect. Right? But the parents don't agree that this should be taught to their own child. But they will teach it, yes, because it's about inclusion. If the father doesn't like it, the father is the one who will get arrested. And soon, you'll have a human being inside your house who abominates everything you believe in, all your values, inside your own house. There are people who get upset. I've even lost several subscribers saying this. Davi, I can't take it anymore. It's just bad stuff, man. We have to have hope. Hope in what? Do you want me to lie to you? Do you want me to do what the candidates have been doing to you? That they're going to change everything, even with the Supreme Court, the way it is? Even though he knows that Molusco is re-elected because the system is the same. Do you want me to do the same thing? I'm not going to do it, my brother. I'd rather you stop following me. Don't watch the channel anymore. And in 6 months, a year from now, when there aren't channels like this anymore, including this one, then you'll remember this guy here. Look, then you'll say, wow, that guy said this, man. I prefer this, my brother, because what really matters are these memories. Because, you know, everything passes. I'll stop here, my brothers. That's it, right? Pablo Marçal. He was very honest in what he said. And then they went after him right in the middle of the process. You see, that's it. That's the point of the video, okay? How quickly his case moved. Quickly! It's how those guys went after it right away. How eager they were to fast track something that usually takes months, and they went after it immediately, just to ban him from the next debate. If I'm not mistaken, is this Sunday or the next? Anyway, they already rushed it. So you see how the justice system really is partisan.
That's not justice. God bless you. Take care, and we're in this together. I'm out.